Hello, so this is my level 2 video for LED 3000. I'm going to be talking about a couple of articles and my experiences with LED 3000 and some artifacts that I thought were pretty convenient for this class and how to use them in my classroom. So the articles that I thought were, all of them were great. It was really hard to choose just three. So I really liked doing multicultural education for achievement and equity. So this article just really talks about just, if you know who you are as a person, then, your morals for being a teacher is just going to be a whole lot more easier. Knock knock, teachers hear the power of home visits. I really liked this article just because my dad talked about home visits, and he's an educator too, and he just talked about how well home visits work, and just for me, just being able to connect with students on another level outside of the classroom. The last one is School Connectedness for Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, and Transgender Youth. I really liked this article just because I made a connection with my sister. She is lesbian and she is dating someone that's transgender. And it's a really good experience for me to know how to deal with the LGBTQ community and how to be there for them. Because of a lot of the challenges that they're going through. A couple of assignments that I really liked this semester was the family tree and the analysis paper. The family tree I started actually whenever I was a sophomore in high school, just as a paper that I had to do, and my dad basically took it over, and it was interesting going through the generations of like how much education my family has. When you get into like my great grandparents, they didn't really have a whole lot of education. The highest education they had was 8th grade. And then when you get into my grandpa's generation, out of like 13 siblings, only one of them got a bachelor's degree. And then you move into my dad's generation, he was the first one that got a master's. So it's really interesting how that ladder of education, of how high like we have improved and how much we see education is really important. The other assignment that I really liked was the analysis paper. I interviewed my boyfriend just because I thought it'd be interesting that me and him share the same culture. We're both Mexican. But I was interested to see, like, how much are we really different from each other? And we're really different. One example that, as to how we're different is with school. My parents struggled in their early 20s, being married, having 2 kids, and my dad working like 2 or 3 full-time jobs and then going to school full-time and trying to figure out a family. Like, they quickly realized that, oh my gosh, if you go to school, you're going to succeed. You're going to be able to provide for your family because you have this degree. No one can take it away from you. With my boyfriend, his parents immigrated here from Mexico. And as soon as they got here, they just worked. And that's what they figured. Like, oh my gosh, if we work, we're going to be able to provide and there's no suffering and that kind of stuff. So they didn't really have that option of school just because it was so expensive and they just didn't know the resources that they had. So it was really interesting to compare the two. I really did kind of push myself out of my comfort zone with my practicum because I did first grade, and that's not a grade that I want to go into, but I had a really good experience of how a first grade classroom works. And Dr. Sylvia Reed, she did my observation. She had really high remarks for me, and just for her to see how I taught, even though she has no idea who I am, she was able to see that how I was teaching the students and all that other stuff. she could see that, like, I can have a really high student engagement. I was good with the students on, you know, positive reinforcement and that kind of thing. So it was really cool to see that and to read that as well. Couple things for the artifacts I brought in for the class. I actually didn't bring this in, but I just had a picture of it. This is a sugar skull. This is part of Day of the Dead in the Mexican culture. Day of the Dead is more of a celebration of those that have passed on, in a way that we're celebrating their life here, whenever they were here. And so the really good representation of Day of the Dead and how it all works is Coco. And I think Coco did a really good job of how Day of the Dead is and how they represented it. I think this would be a really good beneficial thing for my classroom. I think just because it'll be interesting for other students to see, like, okay, what are some of the holidays that surround Halloween? What do the other countries do, or how do they celebrate Halloween? And hopefully get to make a sugar skull, so that would be really cool. Last thing is for my first artifact, I brought in Hermione Granger's wand. I bought it over at Universal Studios, and the Harry Potter book. The fourth one is one of my favorites, but for this purpose I just did the fifth one. Just to kind of show, like, I have grown up with Harry Potter, and the morals of Harry Potter they really apply to today, and how students and kids should be with one another, and to have a really good foundation of friends and loved ones that just can be your family, you know, and that love conquers all. That, you know, whoever you love, or whoever is in your close knit circle, you know, that's the support system that you're gonna have, and that's gonna push you to do greater things in life. So I hope you enjoyed my level 2 video, and yeah, thank you so much.